Top 10 Activism Topics to Research. Malcolm X as a civil rights activist. Malcolm X was a prominent civil rights activist who contributed to the development and spread of Black nationalism. You can examine his ideological and spiritual transformations from a radical figure to a more inclusive advocate for social change. In addition, analyze his impact on promoting racial equality. The role of social media in activism. Here, you can explore how social media helps social activists communicate, raise awareness, and mobilize people into action. Apart from the benefits of social media platforms, you can analyze challenges associated with their use for activism, such as misinformation and censorship. Environmental activism, benefits and threats. In this paper, you can explain the role of environmental activism in raising public awareness of ecological issues and driving social change. Besides, you can explore cases when environmental activism can be seen as civil disobedience, especially when activists damage property and disrupt the daily life in communities. How can activists advocate their cause without harming other people? Political activism in nursing and healthcare. For this topic, you should examine the role of nurses and other healthcare professionals as political advocates. Review the many ways for nurses to engage in advocacy efforts, for example, by participating in policy meetings, joining professional nursing organizations, and educating communities. The problems of nursing activism. Nursing activism can be a powerful tool for enhancing healthcare policies and patient care. Yet, many challenges can hinder nurses' participation in activism. You can discuss them in your paper. Consider barriers such as a lack of confidence in public speaking skills, insufficient policy knowledge, and potential conflicts of interest. How can nurses overcome these challenges? Student activism in the United States. In this essay, you can explore the history and impact of student activism in the U.S. For example, you can consider the role of students in the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and recent social justice campaigns. What are the most significant social changes achieved thanks to students' efforts? Social media activism in the Arab Spring Revolution. The Arab Spring was a series of anti-government protests in the Arab world in the early 2010s. You can devote your paper to exploring the role of Twitter and Facebook in these uprisings. Were these social media platforms used as a mobilizing force? Or were they just a means of communicating political information? Greta Thunberg, teenage environmental activist. Greta Thunberg can be considered an icon of contemporary environmental activism. You can write a paper discussing her ideas, campaigning methods, and key achievements. In addition, discuss her role in inspiring youth activism and driving climate action worldwide. Federal courts, activism versus restraint. This topic encourages you to compare and contrast judicial activism and restraint. How do these approaches influence court decisions on civil rights, social issues, and constitutional matters? You can support your discussion with landmark cases that illustrate both activist and restrained interpretations of the law. Imprisonment and death of Aaron Swartz, a dangerous activist. Aaron Swartz was an American programmer and activist who fought for free and open internet. In 2010, in an attempt to liberate data, he downloaded millions of academic articles from a scientific database called JSTOR. For that, he was sentenced to 35 years in prison. In your essay, you can explore Swartz's case in detail. Consider the ethical and legal questions raised by his persecution and its broader implications for activism. Find more research topics on studycorgi.com.